My friend, what just happened behind the scenes at the Raiders is leaving everyone speechless. A hot piece of information came out of ESPN and is already becoming the talk of the town among fans, and it's not about who you're thinking of. This story involves behind-the-scenes details, quiet decisions, and a potential twist that could completely change the season's rumor mill. And the most curious thing, there's more happening at the same time, including a worrying situation involving one of the team's biggest stars. The atmosphere in Henderson is different, heavy, tense, and I've gathered details that aren't yet circulating in the mainstream media. But don't worry, I'll tell you everything, every detail. But first, if you're a true Raider Nation fan and want to know the truth behind these moves, like and subscribe to the channel now, because what I'm about to reveal today will take you by surprise. The ESPN report hit Raider Nation like a thunderbolt. Teams across the league now believe the Las Vegas Raiders are open to trading wide receiver Jacobe Meyers. No, not Max Crosby. The emotional core of the defense isn't going anywhere unless he demands it. The real shock comes from Meyers, one of the offense's most consistent weapons, who has suddenly become the center of trade speculation as the 2025 season approaches its halfway point. According to insider Jeremy Fowler, the buzz around the league is clear. The Raiders aren't invested in Meyers, but they are absolutely paying attention. And when a player who has been one of the few specifically expressed sparks becomes the target of trade proposals, fans can't help but wonder, is this the start of another roster shakeup in Las Vegas? Behind the scenes, tension has been building since the offseason. Meyers, now 27, reportedly requested a trade months ago after contract extension negotiations fell through. The Raiders liked his talent, but the long-term financial alignment was never worked out. Fast forward to October 2025, and the situation has only gotten more complicated. Meyers has an expiring contract, and if he becomes a free agent in 2026, he's likely to stay. That's why teams are watching, and why Vegas could decide to trade him before the deadline while his value is still high. And make no mistake, that value is significant. Meyers has racked up 4 consecutive seasons with over 800 yards, including a 1,000-yard outburst in 2024, despite the quarterback's fearsome performance. He's proven himself a polished route runner with elite hands and toughness over the middle. In a league desperate for reliable wide receivers, Meyers would instantly be one of the most sought-after names on the trade market. Reports suggest the Raiders could land a third-round draft pick, possibly more if a contender gets desperate. That's not just idle talk. It's valuable draft capital for a time still reshaping itself under its current leadership. Moving Meyers could open new doors, both financially and strategically. It would also allow young receivers Dante Thornton and Jack Beck to finally get real playing time, something fans have been clamoring for all season. Still, it's a risky move. Trading Meyers could signal that Las Vegas is undergoing a restructure for a full residency, but standing still could mean losing him for free next spring. The front office is walking a tightrope. One misstep could set the clock back another year. So here's the million-dollar question. Are the Raiders quietly preparing to sell before the trade deadline, or is this just a feint to gauge market interest? Because right now, Jacobe Meyers' fate could determine how serious this franchise is about reshaping its future. And while trade rumors dominate the headlines, another update is looming, one that could impact the Raiders' offense even more dramatically. The name is Brock Bowers, and his absence may be the biggest news in Las Vegas right now. For weeks, Raider Nation has been holding its breath, waiting, rooting, and updating every injury report for one name: Brock Bowers. The superstar tight end who turned heads in his rookie season is once again sidelined, and the latest update isn't the news fans wanted to hear. Heading into Week 7, Bowers remains out of practice, still recovering from a sprained MCL and a painful bone bruise in his knee. The story began in Week 1, when Bowers exploded for 103 yards in a dominant debut that had fans dreaming of an offensive renaissance. But soon after, everything changed. He started moving slower, his routes got shorter, and the explosiveness that made him a first-round sensation began to fade. It wasn't just fatigue, it was injury. In Week 4, the Raiders had no choice but to sit him out. And now, after 2 games lost, the questions are louder than ever. Coach Pete Carroll tried to maintain an optimistic tone during Wednesday's press conference, but even his words suggested caution. "I'm hopeful," he said, "but we're protecting him. The bye week is coming up. It might be smarter to make sure he's 100% before postponing it." Translation? The Raiders could keep him out not just this week, but possibly beyond Week 8. And as frustrating as it may seem, it's the right decision. Bowers isn't just any player. He's the future of this offense. Pushing him back too early could turn a few weeks' worth of injury into a season-ending disaster. Everyone in the building knows it. That's why they're counting on Jacobe Meyers, who excelled in last week's 20-10 win over Tennessee. Meyers caught 5 passes for 50 yards and a touchdown, proving he can handle the spotlight when called upon. But let's be honest, while Meyers is solid, Bowers is special. When he's on the field, field, defenses panic. The aesthetics of the field open up running lanes and make every snap unpredictable. Still, there's a sense of frustration among fans. The Raiders' offense has struggled with pace, and losing their most dynamic playmaker has been a gut punch. Since Bowers' departure, red zone efficiency has plummeted, and the tempo has relied heavily on close-range moves and quick blocks. It's survival football, not the explosive offense fans expected when the season began. But here's the silver lining. By giving Bowers time, the Raiders could be setting themselves up for a major second-half comeback. Imagine him returning fully healthy in Week 9, ready to shred defenses while the young core around him continues to grow. That's a long-term vision. So for now, Raider Nation needs to remain patient. Not easy when every week feels like a must-win. Bowers' absence hurts, but his return could be a glitch that reignites the season. And speaking of sparks, the Raiders are about to spring into action, because on the other side of this injury drama is none other than Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. The next battle, a matchup that could define the entire Las Vegas season. The storm is coming, and it wears red and gold. After regaining some momentum with a hard-fought 20-10 victory over the Titans, the Las Vegas Raiders now face their biggest challenge yet, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 7. And make no mistake, this isn't just another divisional game. This is a benchmark. The kind of benchmark that tells you exactly who you are and where your season is headed. Through 6 games, the Raiders have been an enigma. Flashes of brilliance, tempered by periods of frustration. A dominant defense one week, a weak offense the next. They've won the halves they should have won, like the Titans and the Patriots. But when the stage got bigger, against the Colts or the Ravens, the lights shined too brightly. The 40-6 collapse against Indianapolis still happened. It wasn't just a loss, it was a wake-up call. And now, standing between them and redemption are the Chiefs, rested, recharged, and more dangerous than ever. Kansas City's offense has found its groove again, averaging over 31 points per game over the past 3 weeks since Xavier Worthy returned from injury. Add to that the return of Rashee Rice, whose suspension just ended, and suddenly the Chiefs look like the unstoppable juggernaut everyone feared they would become. On paper, only a win separates these two AFC West rivals. In reality, the gap seems vast. FanDuel's odds tell the story. The Raiders enter as plus 520 underdogs, with an 11.5-point spread. It's the kind of game that tests their pride as much as their game, and it comes at a time when Las Vegas desperately needs an identity. With Brock Bowers sidelined, the offense has been supported by Geno Smith, Ashton Jeanty, and Michael Mayer, but consistency has been their biggest enemy. As drives stall, momentum fades. Often, it's up to the defense, led by Max Crosby, who plays like a man possessed, to keep the clock ticking. But even Crosby's relentless energy may not be enough to stop the endless bag of tricks from Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Andy Reid. Still, this is the NFL, and there's one thing to learn. Anything can happen when the lights are on. The Raiders know they're being questioned, ignored, and disrespected. But that kind of fire can be dangerous for a time when they have nothing to lose. If Geno Smith can find his rhythm early, if the offensive line can buy him a little more time, and if the defense can rattle Mahomes even once, the tide could turn. Because here's the truth. No one expects the Raiders to win, and that's exactly what makes them dangerous. The Chiefs have everything to lose. Las Vegas has everything to prove. This game isn't just about Week 7. It's about pride. It's about sending a message that the Raiders may be down, but they're not dead. That even in a year of investigation, they can still strike fear into the hearts of their rivals. Raider Nation, if you were the general manager today, what would you do? Would you trade Jacobe Meyers now to secure picks and think about the future? Would you wait for Brock Bowers to return and bet on a run against the Chiefs? Or do you believe this is the time to prove the Raiders still have enough fire to challenge the AFC Giants? Leave your opinion here, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later to update you with the latest Raiders news.